Thunderbolts are very different kind of team compared to the Avengers. What attracts you to the story and this group of characters?
I think that when you have a group of characters like this who do feel different, that also gives you an opportunity to bring a sort of different filmmaking sensibility to the movie and an opportunity to kind of take the MCU down a slightly different path and then hopefully, even though it's a different direction, end up in that same great place with scale and scope and the heart that you've come to expect from these films.
Many of the characters of Thunderbolts are morally complex and come with a lot of emotional baggage. How did you approach balancing acting with deeper character development?
I think, with these actors, it's easy. I mean, they don't, they're such incredible practitioners of their craft, that they want that. And if you give them the material, then they can go there. And they're also obviously so funny as well. So it never felt like we really had to pick and choose. And we always knew that we could push it there and still find the kind of tonal balance within the film.
Thunderbolts feels like more than just a superhero movie. It carries a strong emotional way through themes like trauma, loneliness, and even healing power of something as simple as a hug. What's your vision behind this emotional layer in the story?
I think it felt like, reading that, the first Century run from Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee, and talking to Paul about what he was going for with the Century, always was a sort of parable for mental health, and we maybe tried to take a little bit of a different approach to what the duality of those sides were, but it always was going to be about that. And if it's going to be about that with a character that powerful, then the rest of the story becomes about how do you find commonality in what the rest of our characters are going through and how they relate to that character. And so it always was going to play in a kind of psychological context as well as an action one. And then the challenge became, how do we make that psychological challenge feel physical and have an action element to it as well?
If it were up to you, what direction would you like to take the Thunderbolts in the Marvel Universe going forward?
Well, I think the Marvel Universe may already have some ideas about the Thunderbolts and what they do going forward. So I'm gonna leave it to Kevin and some other folks on that. Yeah.
You're known for your work on more intimate and character-driven films. How did your directional style evolve when working at such a large scale and effectively production?
I think, coming from Beef, something we tried to do a lot in that show was like really enforce character perspective through camera position and lensing. And, but it was very clear in Beef whose perspective we were inhabiting in each of the scenes. It's either Amy or it's Danny. I think in this film, obviously Florence is our protagonist, but they're all perspective characters at some point. And when you have that many characters in the same scene, you have to be very, very detailed about when you decide, even within a scene, at which moment you're in whose perspective, and that was kind of the biggest adjustment for me.
And finally, now that you've directed your first Marvel film, would you be open to returning to that universe in a sequel or other project in the MCU?
I loved working here, and I would love to come back. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, but that's all. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you
nice
so much.
To meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you too.